this episode of the MR2 not running because it has a hesitation issue and I'm tired of working on it, we're working on the ECU today because I think that's a new issue because I'm not really sure what it is. It's not a new issue, but I think that's what the issue is. Todd from TCS and I think it was Brian from Prime, I believe, you don't quote me on that, told me about leaky capacitors in the ECU. So what I need to do is get down in here, and the ECU is back behind here. But before I do that, I want to explain what's going on. So for me, I'm pretty lucky that I can replace the capacitors in it. What most people do is they either set it to Prime or they send out to Drift Motion out in California. But I'm lucky enough that a gentleman that I work with named Dave Gibbon actually knows how to replace stuff like this. I could probably do it, but I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I'd rather pay someone to do it properly. He knows how to do it properly. So I'm gonna give it to him and he's gonna do it at work for me. It's pretty freaking awesome I have that connection, so thank you, Dave, for doing that. But let's go ahead and start ripping this out, get this ECU out. I'm gonna take the plate off and show you if the capacitors are bad. They should be leaking, and even if they're not leaking, they physically leak, which is really weird. I don't understand how it works, but that's beside the point. Even if they're not leaking, they can dry rot, I guess, and just go bad. So I'm gonna take it out, replace them all anyways, and see if that fixes the issue. If not, then we're gonna set the car on fire, and you guys are gonna get to see it first person. One thing I gotta say, I really do like working the MR2 ECU-wise. Like, this is stupid easy to get to. It's just right in the trunk, which is really nice for accessibility reasons. And it's just mounted right up there, so all your wiring's really accessible. Way easier than the Supra, that is for damn sure. Especially if you're trying to do a wire tuck, you can literally just put this stuff in the trunk. And there's plenty of extra space off to the side and back along this panel here, so really easy to tuck stuff, but that's beside the point. It also has an old school TCS sticker on it from when Ty swapped his car way back in the day. But to get back on subject here, what we're gonna do is take these 3 10mm bolts out and then unplug it from the bottom down here. And once we do that, I'm gonna take off the cover here and see if it's leaking or not. Well, let's give this a shot. Oh, before we do that, we need to do this. We need to go up front here and pop the hood. I've got it on a battery tender, but we need to disconnect the battery. The last thing you want to do is have your battery connected and blow something else in the ECU, cause some other issue. So what we're going to do is disconnect all this stuff, take that off, and then at least take the power source off of it here. Actually, that's negative power sources over there. Take the power source off and tuck it away, and then take the ECU out here and unplug it all. This is literally like the easiest way I've ever done this, but just unplugged. There's 3 plugs, there's 2 right here, and then there's one here that's separate at the bottom that you need to unplug. I went ahead and took the cover off. It's just 4 Phillips head style screws. Use my little impact here. And now what you need to do next is there's this top panel here which has 4 more screws in it that you need to take off, and then this will flip up, and it has like a wiring strip back behind her, so please be careful. I'm probably gonna lay something for this to lay on so this doesn't get damaged in any shape, way, or form. I just don't want to damage anything. So let's go ahead and flip this up and see if any of the capacitors are bad. All right, guys, so I put the ECU back together. I didn't record it there just for the fact that I'm gonna have to take it into work with me to my one guy I work with. He's gonna take a look at it. But we have some carb cleaner here because BB says he has an idea that it might be a vacuum leak. Can you explain that one real quick?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fire up the MR2 and just at idle, carb cleaner at any hoses, your injectors, and if there's a leak, it'll pick it up and it'll run rough, the idle will go down, and then that's more of a better diagnosis to see what's going on. I think we have a stuck injector possibly, or maybe all of them failing. So we're gonna try that and see what happens.
All right, guys, so what we're doing here is about to put these capacitors in. We've got a solder sucker here, which is something you guys should definitely buy. I bought these off Amazon for a couple bucks. It came with 2 extras just in case. And I've also got these capacitors here off Amazon. There was a kit, seemed to have very, very, very good reviews. And had everything I need and a couple extra. This is designed for Toyota application, so Supra, Lexus, etc. And it fits pretty much anything from like the 1989 up to some of the 2006 models, but it comes with extras that you might not need. Just make sure you check all the, what's the word I'm looking for here, Dave? What's the word, what are these called?
The microfarads and the voltage,
okay,
and that they're electrolytic.
Okay, so that's pretty much what we're looking at. So we have to take the case off first. You're gonna have these 4 screws here that you need to take off first, and then we'll show you what's inside. All right, guys, I also want to apologize. I'm using my iPhone for this part here. But what we're going to do here next is take these 4 screws out. And this will allow us access then to the entire panel itself. We're going ahead and taking off the other side now too, guys. Again, the TCS Motorsports decal or sticker is just for just when Ty swapped it You can see here, this is a JDM ECU. There's the part number itself. Again, these will work with any Toyota ECU, and we'll show you and go through the part numbers here. You guys can see here, what are we doing now, Dave? What are you adding? Just solder to it?
Yep.
You can see the board's a little messed up there, guys. First one wasn't doing so great. The tip isn't exactly perfect either.
That should do it.
Alrighty. Alright guys, so to distinguish this here, we have the black strip there, and that signifies that as the negative, and the other side would be the positive. Just to make sure when you put these in that you put them in the right way, so you get your negative and positive, and they must go in the correct manner.
These are the same way. They have a stripe on the negative side.
There you go, guys. Just a little bit of information for you if you're doing this at home. All right, guys, so we're back at the house now, and I have the ECU. I wanted to give a big shout out to Dave Gibbon. It's a gentleman I work with. He was kind enough to help me with this and get this sorted out. We had a short lunch break today, and we got this done on our lunch break. So yeah, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Because I was like, I've replaced, it's funny, thinking about it once we did this, I replaced the capacitors actually for the tack on this one time, which was actually a lot harder to get to. And looking back at it, I have no idea how I did that. I don't even remember like how I physically did, but I had to do it because I knew the tack was broken. I was going back through my pictures and I found it. And I don't know why, but I felt so uneasy doing this. And after like just watching it, I'm like, it's so easy. Literally, you just desolder it and pull the pins out or pull the capacitors out. Use a solder sucker, suck the solder off, and then put the new ones in and clip them off. That's it. So let's bolt this up, and guys, let's hope this fixes the issue because I am so tired of messing with it. Guys, moment of truth right now. I've got the ECU back in. What I need to do here yet is go up front, pop the hood again, or the frunk, or whatever you want to call it. See if I can get my hand in here. I have to reconnect the battery, positive battery terminal here as I disconnected it. Let's see if I can get that back down in there. I hate how tight this is in here. It's unbelievably tight. So let me get, I need both my hands here. All right, guys, so you're gonna be along with me here. Whew. Putting e-brake up just to be safe. Turn the lights on so you guys can see this a little bit better. But make sure everything's okay. That makes a noise I never heard before, but seems to fire up all right. Seems to be okay. Let's go back here. Make sure nothing's smoking out of it, nothing's weird. All right, let's go take the car for a drive here, guys, and see if this fixes it. I have to move the Supra here first, so let's get that out of the way. Well, boys and girls, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that fixed the problem finally. Fixed it. I tested it, made sure to floor it when it had plenty of load on it and stuff. No hesitation, nothing. It ended up being the capacitors, guys, this entire time. Now, again, you can get these capacitors off Amazon for 12 bucks, shipped to your door. Comes with a few extras because it's meant for all the Toyotas from the 90s up to the early 2000s. I never realized this was a common problem across the board. Now, I hear about it a lot in the MR2 guys because those guys tend to have way more miles on their sports cars versus the super guys, etc. Most super guys are also on standalone, so it's kind of irrelevant. But for MR2 guys, for let's be honest here, usually don't have the most money in the world. So they're using a stock ECU. You see this issue come up more often. So if you've got a soldering iron, 12 bucks in your account, and you've got some free time, you can do this yourself. Again, all you're literally doing is just applying a little bit of heat, wiggling that old capacitor out, as long as your board's not destroyed. And hopefully it's not to that point. My board was, like, you couldn't even tell. Like, all mine looked completely fine. You couldn't, even when we pulled them off, they all looked fine. But when we replace them, that's what it'll end up being. So that's just something for you guys to think about, and I hope this helps a lot of you out. I'm hoping to get some more drive time with you here tonight. I've got to drive the Super again. I know, poor, woe is me. I want to get some drive time with that here, and then I'll get back with you guys. Sorry guys, I had to do a wardrobe change there because I had to get a shower, and I had to run out and go get some oil, some pen grade here. I went to 10W30 this time instead of 10W40 because it's a little bit colder. And if the car sits outside, it makes it a little bit easier to crank. I usually run 10W40, especially in the summer because it's a little bit thicker. That's just what I like to run. Anyways, so what the fuck? Yeah. Car's all fixed now, guys. I hope this helps you. Again, a big shout out to Dave Given for all the help and everything he did to get this going. Yeah, it's cool to get help like that. And he seems like he's so appreciative. He's such a nice freaking guy. Like, you can't hate this guy. He's so fucking nice. He's ready to retire though, which I'm fucking jealous about. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comments. I want to help you guys as much as I possibly can. Let me know in the comments what you're looking for. If you have questions, concerns on this, it is quite straightforward. Just literally take the ECU panels off. You'll see the capacitors in there. There's a total of 8 of them. Again, I'll link the Amazon place where to get all the capacitors and stuff for you, but there's a total of 8 in there. You don't have to figure out which ones we did like I had to. I actually have the paper over here. Shouldn't say I had to, it was me and Dave here. Let's get this open. You can see here, these are all the capacitors that you guys will need. And this is where they're located at on the board, but these are all the capacitors that you'll need. I think this is called 10 microfarads. Don't quote me on that. He knew all the technical terms and stuff because this is this is his bread and butter. But he listed everything out for me, and we went through and read them off, and then we wrote it down just to make sure, and then we labeled down on the board where they're at. So if you're doing this for a Gen 3, this is exactly where they'll be at. This is the exact capacitors that you need. I hope this helps you guys. Hey guys, do me a big favor. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Also, go check out the Pure Function page. I've got new hats, shirts, hoodies, which it's cold out. You need a hoodie, guys. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you later. Peace!